Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels is a 1998 British crime caper directed by Guy Ritchie. It's a complex, witty and entertaining tale of crime, friendship and redemption centered around four friends and their attempts to settle a debt owed to a notorious gangster following a bad night at a high-stakes poker game before it's too late. Throughout the film, Guy Ritchie's witty dialogue and clever plot twists keep the viewer guessing. The film's stylish visuals, energetic pace, and memorable characters all contribute to its enduring appeal. It is no surprise this movie served as a launchpad to catapult Guy Ritchie into becoming a Hollywood A-list director. So let's get into it. Trudy Styler, a producer in her own right but perhaps better known as the wife of Sting, who ended up with the role in the movie himself, stumbled upon the screenplay in the mid-1990s and fell in love with it. The inexperienced Guy Ritchie had written it at only 20 years young, so no surprise it was incredibly rough around the edges. But fortunately, the substance of what Ritchie was trying to achieve shone through its inelegant presentation, setting Styler in motion to get the film created. The film was having trouble finding an American distributor when Styler called an acquaintance of hers, a certain movie star by the name of Tom Cruise, only the biggest actor on the planet at the time, to see if he'd be nice enough to help by attending a Hollywood screening. Not to become a buyer himself necessarily, but just by showing up, his big, beautiful, famous face would help give it some credibility. Apparently, at the end of the movie, he got up in front of everyone and said, "This is the best movie I've seen in years. You guys would be fools not to buy it," but in an American accent. He wasn't wrong, and they did. This is one you might already know, but the story goes that immediately after watching the movie, Brad Pitt called Guy Ritchie and told him he wanted to be a part of whatever he does next. I get it, Brad, I felt the same, but unfortunately I did not have access to Mr. Pitt's Rolodex. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Ritchie's next movie was Snatch, and it starred Brad Pitt. Which, by the way, if you're a fan of the film, then hit that subscribe button because no doubt I'll be diving into that movie soon enough. As well as attracting the big names we've already mentioned, this time it was none other than the Queen of Pop who found herself particularly enamored with the film's eclectic Brit rock soundtrack and wanted in on the action. Makes sense as the film really does have a phenomenal soundtrack. So she contacted Guy Ritchie and producer Matthew Vaughn to ask if her label Maverick could release the film's soundtrack in the United States. Ritchie said she wined and dined them in Hollywood a few times, but initially it was Vaughn she was romantically interested in, not him, which is surprising as Madonna and Ritchie ended up dating and were married not long after. A running theme we have so far is the number of celebrities the movie attracted, which helped skyrocket its momentum. But here we have the story of a world-renowned supermodel who was actually paid to appear in the movie only to end up being cut from it entirely. Claudia Schiffer played Eddie's girlfriend, but after test screenings it became obvious her character didn't fit. The movie doesn't have much use for female characters in general. I think this speaks volumes as to Guy Ritchie's integrity and dedication to his craft. After all, having such a high-profile name attached to the movie would generate a lot of much-needed buzz for his debut movie. Happy ending though, the movie is brilliant and Claudia Schiffer met producer Matthew Vaughn on set, who she later married. So wedding bells all round with this movie then. We're talking real football here, as in soccer to you Yanks. Jones was well known for his highly aggressive and physically uncompromising hard man style of play, picking up double-digit red cards during his career, literally leaving his mark on his opponents here, there and everywhere. So his casting as Big Chris, a mob enforcer who wears his heart on his sleeve, was nothing short of perfection. He has one of the most memorable lines in the entire movie, towards the end of the film, when he declares the experience has been emotional. Yes, it has, Big Chris. Yes, it has. These days, Statham is full-blown Hollywood elite, having now played lead roles in countless blockbuster hits. But in the mid-1990s, he was just another hustler, peddling fake jewellery and perfume on the streets of London to make ends meet, albeit an extremely handsome one. It was in this capacity that he was introduced to Ritchie, who needed a con artist for his movie, and who'd already cast Statham's friend, Vinnie Jones. In England, we have a not always so friendly rivalry between the North and the South. This is definitely captured in a scene where, following a conversation between Barry the Baptist, a quintessential Cockney Londoner, and the Scouser burglar duo, it juxtaposes them calling each other Northern monkeys and Southern fairies respectively. The fairies reference is obvious, it just means us Southerners are soft, but the Northern monkey reference is a little more interesting. Legend has it the town of Hartlepool, located in the north of England, once hung a monkey for treason after it was somehow mistaken for a French spy. Incidentally, the role of Barry the Baptist was played by Lenny McLean, who was a real-life mob enforcer literally known as the hardest man in Britain, so definitely not a fairy then. The movie originally left things open-ended, with the four main characters walking off with the money while Big Chris is close behind them in pursuit, but test audiences didn't care for it. Scrambling, Ritchie came up with the new, more elaborate finale, written on the back of a packer according to Nick Moran, who played Eddie, and the cast was reassembled to film it some months after the initial shoot had ended. One problem, Jason Fleming, who plays Tom, had grown his hair out for another project and couldn't cut it, which is why Tom wears a stocking cap in the last several minutes of the movie. So that's 9 things you probably didn't know about the movie Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Don't forget to like if you like, subscribe if you want more, and ring the bell if you want to be notified when new content is posted. Thanks for watching.